Today we're going to be reviewing the all-new iPhone 5S from Apple. The iPhone 5S is physically identical to the iPhone 5. It's the same exact weight and the same exact dimensions. However, there are some very significant hardware and software changes to this phone, and we're going to be talking about that in this video. Now, this is the space gray model, but it also comes in gold and silver. So let's take a look around the device. On the front face, you have your 4-inch Retina display. You also have your home button, which doubles up as a fingerprint reader, and we'll talk about that in a minute. You have your front-facing 720p HD FaceTime camera and an ambient light sensor. On the rear face of the phone, you have that smooth Apple aluminum back. You also have glass inserts on the top and bottom face of the phone. You also have your 8-megapixel camera, which is improved. You have your dual tone flash, which we'll also talk about. On the right edge, you have the nano SIM card slot. On the bottom edge, you have the speakers. You also have the lightning connector port, and you also have the 3.5mm headphone jack. On the left edge of the phone, you have the volume rocker buttons and the silent lock button. And on the top edge of the phone, you have the power button. The 5S is also very easy to get a grip on with one hand and use with one hand, and surprisingly, it doesn't really feel very heavy despite its metal and glass construction. Now let's look at a few features that have been added to this phone that the iPhone 5 didn't have. The first thing you'll notice about this phone right out of the box is the fact that it's running a brand new OS from Apple, which is iOS 7. Now iOS 7 has much thinner, different fonts and a few different icons. However, the differences don't stop with just the fonts and the icons, and we'll tell you about a few that we feel are very important. One of the most visible changes to iOS 7 is a newer and cleaner drop-down notification center. The notification center now combines your calendar, your weather, your stocks, or any other information you should choose to receive. Another very visible and helpful change is a new feature called Control Center. And to activate this, you swipe up, and it opens up, and this allows you to turn on the airplane mode, turn on or turn off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, change the screen brightness, play a song, share things via AirDrop, turn on the flashlight app, use a calculator, and even use your camera on the phone. Both the notification center and the control center are now also available from the lock screen. The web browsing experience on the 5S is also vastly improved with the update to Safari and is now truly a delight to use. Web pages load up really fast, as you can see. Scrolling down a page is very smooth, and pinch to zoom is extremely fluid and sharp. And Safari's new tab system makes it very easy to navigate through different tabs that you have open. One minor annoyance though, while scrolling down web pages, you could accidentally bring up Control Center. While 3D effects are not a major feature of iOS 7, they're a cool little addition. And as you can see, as I tilt the screen, the icons and wallpaper adjust in a three-dimensional way. iOS 7's new task manager should be very familiar to people coming from Android. In order to activate it, you press down on the home button twice and you can see all the apps that are currently open. Now you can switch between the apps or close any app that you want to close by just swiping upwards. Another very significant change to the 5S is that the home button is also a fingerprint reader, which you can use to unlock the phone or buy apps from the App Store or from the iTunes Store. Now, in order to configure this, you go into your settings and you go into the section that says General, and then scroll down to where it says Passcode and Fingerprint, and then enter your 4-digit passcode if you've set it up, and then it allows you to save fingerprints. Now, I've got 2 fingerprints in there already, and I'm going to add a third. I'm going to add a fingerprint, and all you need to do is tap the finger you want to print gently on the home button, and as you do this, the phone learns your fingerprint and saves it. So once the fingerprint is saved locally on the phone, you're now ready to use your fingerprint to unlock your phone. For example, I'm going to go ahead and lock the phone and bring it out of its sleep mode, place my thumb, which I just saved, And as you can see, the phone unlocks, and that's how the fingerprint system on the new iPhone 5S works. The camera interface on the 5S also has a fresh new design thanks to the updates in iOS 7. As I mentioned earlier, the camera on the 5S is slightly improved. And just to show you how it performs, we've taken a couple of test pictures, and as you can see, the colors are very natural, the pictures are very well exposed, and the focus is very sharp. And overall, the camera takes exceptional pictures. The 1080p video from the 5S is pretty decent, as you can see, and the autofocus is relatively smooth. The camera on the 5S also has what Apple calls a dual tone flash, and what this does is it makes colors of pictures taken with a flash appear much more natural, as you can probably see in this test. One of these pictures was taken with the 5C, which does not have the dual tone flash, and the other one was taken with a 5S under the same lighting conditions, so you can actually see the difference in the colors. Now, iOS 7 also brings a major update to the Photos app, which now organizes pictures automatically and very neatly according to the date and time on which they were taken. The iPhone 5S is equipped with a brand new 64-bit processor, which is much faster, and this is evident in the overall usage experience and also in the web browsing experience. The images on the 4-inch Retina display are very crisp and the colors are very well rendered. Even out in the bright sun, the screen is very clear and usable. As with previous versions of the iPhone, the screen is also very responsive to touch gestures, as you'll see in this little test. As expected, the call quality on the 5S was excellent when tested with Verizon's CDMA network. It didn't drop any calls, and the microphone and speaker quality were very good. The 5S also played back video from YouTube flawlessly, as you'll see in this test. The colors were extremely vivid, the images were very sharp and crisp, and the sound level and quality were excellent.
Disney Nature proudly presents the next great Earth Day adventure. African cats.
We tested the battery life on the iPhone 5S by playing back full HD video from YouTube and found that the device lasted approximately 8 hours on a single charge with no other apps running in the background. And we feel this is very impressive for a device of this screen size, performance, and weight. When it comes to handling intensive 3D graphics, the iPhone performs superbly well. It doesn't drop any frames and is very smooth. However, you do get the feeling that the phone's brand new processor isn't being pushed to its full potential by the games that are currently on the market. Turn-by-turn navigation in either Google Maps or Apple Maps worked flawlessly on the device. However, for those moving from Android, you will miss the dedicated standalone Google Maps navigation app. Now, as you might know, Siri is Apple's voice assistant feature. And in order to enable this, all you have to do is press down on the home button and you can pretty much ask it anything. So let's test it out. What is the weather in New York City?
Nice weather coming up for New York between today and Friday, up to 73 degrees Fahrenheit.
And you can also ask it more specific questions. Siri, find me Chinese restaurants near Times Square, New York.
I found 15 Chinese restaurants not far from Times Square in New York City.
So overall, the iPhone 5S is one of the best smartphones on the market, if not the best smartphone on the market. And though none of the changes to the device are revolutionary, it just adds a whole lot more refinement to an already exceptional device. If you found this review useful, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Thank you very much for watching.